Hi, it's Xavier. Welcome to my bonsai retreat, and I know you want to know how on earth I managed to get down on the ground. And in fact, probably a few of you want to know how on earth I'm actually going to manage to get back up safely.
Simply watching will not be enough.
But seriously, last year I had a bit of an issue with my hawthorn. All of them got infected with that horrible fungus red cedar rust, and definitely they've had it again this year. So what my option was last year was to do some basically wholesale trunk chops. Every single hawthorn I had, I cut down to basically down to within a couple of centimetres. A few of them a bit taller, and then I just left them down the bottom of the garden and ignored them. Well, hey, do you want to know how they're doing? Did the trunk chops work? Is it effective? Am I going to be able to make bonsai out of them? Well, some of these interesting questions I hopefully will answer today. But first of all, I need to get off the ground, and I don't think you're ready to see that.
If you're squeamish, look away.
I'm not joking either. I might have to ask for help from Kat. But seriously, here's the first, and we're probably going to go through about a dozen or so in slow to quick time, depending on how interested I feel in them. When I've got a tree I don't really have great feelings for or great direction for, especially if it's a sort of, I was going to do this, but I bet not, smaller diameter. Well, as you've seen from a silver birch, I'll often just get the concave cutters to it and cut it down to a couple of centimetres and start again for some sort of easy clump style or easy broom. Well, the hawthorn got absolutely ravaged last year. They've been ravaged again this year, to be fair. I am going to have to get to the bottom of this, and no, I am not going to destroy and get rid of the whole crop. What I have discovered with red cedar rust, it's unsightly. Yep, remove the branches, but it doesn't actually kill the tree. And when you remove all the red cedar rust, certainly with the hawthorn and other deciduous, it just grows right through fresh and good again. So should we have a look and see just how they're looking? I mean, the first big success, and with all of them it applies, we've got lots of foliage. They've responded differently depending on probably how healthy they were in the root system, but all of them got chopped at the same time. And I'll make a proviso now. You know that I did some much bigger trunk chops, and they featured in individual episodes through the year, or indeed you might see them in a year of the life of a Xavier trunk chop, a drama unfolding. Anyway, first thing, for you to see this properly, should we pull this out of here? Now, this isn't classifying as a repot, but I really want to see if the soil's any good down there. Actually, I could well just plump it back in once I've done what it is that I'm going to do. And I bet you want to know what that is, don't you? Now, you know, hawthorn are a bit prickly, a bit like my personality. So let's just tap the sides of the pot. Hopefully it'll come out in a nice easy... Right, it's not going to come out in a nice easy mass, I can see that already. The soil's actually breaking up at around the roots, so... Much huffing and puffing. That root ball is actually... I put in some decent soil looking at that. So what I'm going to do is, looking at how deep that is just cut a couple of those off. But there's definitely some nice root growth. Got it in decent soil. So believe it or not, I've got a backup plan. I've got a plastic drum pot which I'm just going to literally slip it into. Bit of the old cheap netting at the bottom, securing wires, and I think we'll do that right now. I might just put a layer of soil in the bottom. I'm actually going to give a big thank you and shout out to Darren of Meadowview Bonsai. I've actually started using the soil that you passed on my way as a gift. So sorry, Darren, but thanks. It's been useful this time of year. I'll just tickle the bottom a little bit. Now what I'll say to you, there's a few of you probably putting your hand up and going, Zav, what is it, 26, 27 degrees today? Has been a week of heat, midsummer. Definitely not the optimum time for repot, but what I will say is these are going into dormancy. So long I don't start hacking away loads of roots, all I'm really doing is really is a classic slip pot into the shallower pot, greater soil, and just removing some of these weeds, to be fair. So is that going to be all right? Well, yeah, do you know what? It's going to be fine. I'm sure when you see it next year, you'll agree with me. But let's get rid of this big dandelion. We don't want that. I mean, you can already see lots of growth from this chop. Okay, safely secured into its drum pot. Look, there's no real front here. Potentially, I'd get rid of this branch here, except for the fact that I think it would become very one-sided. Right now, I have no idea. I'm just tidying it up. So what I will do is get rid of anything I know is not going to be part of this. Certainly this bottom growth. This then comes out. I don't know if I'll wire it. Just going to shorten off some of this side growth. Again, looking where we've got junctions of branches coming out. Shorten it a bit. I don't know whether that will continue higher up or not. But the good thing about hawthorn is, well, it's like, that's why it's used for hedging. It is so profuse. When you prune it hard, it comes back to you even harder. Probably won't have this, so let's get rid of that now. We know we won't have that. Probably won't have that little weenie one. We know we won't have that. And there's a little one in here. Don't know. No, we won't have that right now. I'm keeping this because it's a back branch of sorts. Really, I don't have any design in mind. I'm just looking at cleaning it up, I think. Got this dead area just in here. So we need to remove that. And then I just need to nibble away. And I'm not too worried about neatness and tidiness right now, but it just helps to give me an idea of what's living and what's not. You can see the line down here carries on all the way to there, so I'll take a little bit more off. As always with hawthorn, they have thorns, so they're a right pain sometimes. I don't know, potentially it'll just be 2 branches. This crosses the front, unless it's that way, in which case it may work. I'll probably get rid of that branch up there. Very, very straight here, so I need some of these to do something. And really for now, let's just cut the top off. Well, I better apologise. I've just realised I was focused in too close. You didn't see what I meant when I said I'll just cut the chop off, chop the cut off, chop the
Are you drinking again?
I'm going to just chop the top off, which is what that was. So really, that is about as much as I'm going to do with this. I've taken a few big chunks off the top. I want to give them every opportunity not to dry off those cut points, so just a bit of cut paste on the bigger ones. But for now, that's really as much as I would do on these sort of trunk chop adventures or evolutions. Miles and miles of journey to go on them. But what I will do is I just clean them up, make sure I can see what we're like, get rid of horrible leaves, ganky leaves, give them a spray. Just because there is other sort of issues there, aphids, stuff like that. But all I then need to do, put a bit of fertilizer in there and put it down somewhere where it gets sort of 50-60% shaded and definitely doesn't want to have the full heat, because I've exposed loads of foliage that hasn't seen the sun. So there you go, that's the first one. Shall we have a look at a group and another single, and then I'll show you everything when it's all done. Well, would you believe it, in there somewhere is a weeny itsy bitsy teeny weeny
Itsy bitsy, teeny weeny.
No, we're not going in the yellow polka dot bikini, and I'm certainly not singing that. 3, 4, 5, 6, no. It's lovely wild woods, and probably find that someone slapped a prevention order to stop me from actually digging all this stuff up. But no, in there is actually a hawthorn stump cut to about a centimetre and a half. I'm going to clear away all these nice naturally occurring wild weeds and then show you what we've got. basically a year later after the cut. Okay, well, I've managed to clear out the field and the field mice, hedgehogs and everything else that was living in there. I even found a hermit that I had to send into town to get some emergency housing. But no, seriously, there's the stump there. Good spread of stuff coming out from the side, but what you can clearly see, we've got one big strong one there, potentially either this one here and there. And what I'm looking for when I do these chops is, yeah, it's great we've got this growth down here, but I want two reasonable branches that are near the edge of the cut point. We've got this one here, and we've also got this one here. The rest of them are lower, this one beside it, but we've got this big one. I'm happy with that. So where I've got two, that's going to be the concentration, and hopefully what I'll do is, as this grows up a bit stronger, I'll start V'ing out that channel. But I'm going to remove the rest of this stuff around there. So just a little bit of wire there, and really I've got to be careful not to create an outlandish sort of shape, but it is often better still in the early stages to go extreme, because as it grows up, that extreme bends will lessen and look more realistic. I don't want to put too much pressure there, so I'm going to hold in that, but I do want to take it out and just do that. And again with this one here, just let it come out a little bit. And there, it just needs to be a slight insinuation of a bend. And that's really all I'm going to do with that. Oh, should we just take the top off? We don't want it splitting up there. So all I'm going to do is just cut it there. And same care that I've done with the other one, somewhere into a shaded part of the garden. Probably, in fact, what I will do, I tend to do, is I'll put a load of bone meal in there. But, you know, again, sometimes you do things and it's on the advice of other people. And I know my good friend Alex Braunton does similar. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I think it came from Harry Harrington maybe, or someone. I'm not entirely sure why I use the bone meal. I better go and have a look. In fact, I'll have a look and you'll see a message coming up now saying what it is that I do it for.
Phosphoric acid causes male pattern baldness.
So let's get that bone meal in, and that's going to be the start of the new chopped down hawthorn. So let's go and have a look at a couple of others. In fact, why sit there with just hawthorn? I did actually do this to 1 or 2 hornbeam as well, which is another of the trees. I got lots of sort of 2-3 year old saplings, let them go, and then really didn't think about where they were going next. Great for trunk chop candidates. Here's one that I chopped back last year. It's in there. We've got a number of branches growing, but I can already see an obvious decision. But first of all, I'm going to get rid of some low stuff so you can see clearly what I can see. Does that make sense? Just get rid of that one as well. So what we've got here, in fact, let's get rid of this one as well. This is multiple trunks coming from the same point. And again, this is what you're looking to achieve when you do these trunk chops. You either get stuff right near the top, which you saw in that last hawthorn, or you get a similar arrangement, 2 branches from an ideal place lower down, which means this is unnecessary, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that one there. Probably see it better there. Hey, I can make some arms and make a hornbeam end. But no, first thing is, let's talk about another perennial pest, shall we? Absolutely hate it, liverwort. It will slowly choke the life out of your tree. It's normally an indicative of really damp soil, and you get these lily paddy, yucky style tops, and it literally takes the entire surface area of your bonsai and will choke the life out of it. So you've got to, when you see it, it's either a sign that it's getting far too much water, or more likely it's just not draining. It could be that you have it in a very, very shaded spot. So yeah, liverwort, never good for soil. Certainly doesn't allow for a good free exchange of oxygen with your soil. So you definitely want to be getting rid of liverwort. And normally for me, that means that I need to repot. But having looked underneath, the soil is actually not too bad, so it's probably because it was in a very, very shaded area that got lots of water. So I'll just continue to get this up, and you'll find it grows up the bark as well, and it will kill the tree. It certainly stunts it. The roots don't like it. I'm going to remove all this. So I'm going to continue to take the top off this, and then really I think there's only one thing that actually has to be done. I'm sure you know what it is. In fact, whack that down in the comments right now. You tell me what you think I'm going to do. We need to reduce the height of that, I think. So take that off, and really I'm going to do a bit more nibbling. And again, I'll take it probably to within about half a centimetre, then seal it up and take it down a little bit more in another year, I'd imagine. Roll a little bit of putty. That's a nice enough seal that certainly we won't be getting any foreign bodies in there, and hopefully that'll slow down any drying out and help with the healing. Do I need to wire those? I mean, I could potentially put in a little bit of movement, but I'm inclined to wait probably until the autumn when the leaves have dropped, or maybe even do it in early spring. Don't know.
He can't change his mind.
He's not going to change his mind.
And so I did put wire on, and the reason was, as soon as you've got side branches starting to appear, unless you're going to remove them, ideally the sooner that you can get them into a horizontal mode, like flappy arms, I find the better. I want this stuff pointing upwards. What I don't want to do is to have this stuff draping downwards, because I want it to keep reaching. Haven't pruned to tops at all, but what I have done is this branch is now going out in the horizontal, as is this branch, and I can imagine this will continue to grow for a year. I want to double the thickness there, continue the healing process here, and all I'll do is any side branches, I'll keep them cut inwards. So although I know you see a parallel going on there, that is certainly not where the end's going to be for this. But that, again, that's the way I look at, as you develop year on year, your stump cuts. Oh, that's telling you I've got to stop. Shall I stop then? Okay, well, having had a little break there with the hornbeam, we come back to, well, actually there should be 4 or 5 second or third year old hawthorns. Again, got absolutely dosed down with the red seed of rust, chopped down to within an inch of their life. We've got something growing there. I'm going to remove all the weeds and have a look and see, 1, how many are in there, 2, to see if they're healthy, and just do the same sort of pruning that I've just demonstrated with the others. Right, add a little dig around in there, and actually we've got 7 in there, substantially smaller than the ones you've just seen, and also nowhere near as vigorous or as healthy. You've got a few nice shoots up here, but this is also an example, and one of the risks someone like me has, who has lots and lots of cuttings and trees, that this got overgrown, it got clogged down with weeds, roots, all sorts, and I was slowly choking the life out of the trees that I actually wanted to develop. So it's something to be aware of. If you're going to be positioning stuff around a garden, you've got a bigger garden, you need a bring up system, you need something to remind you to go and have a look. And you know where I went wrong? I didn't put that in my Bonsai app. It wasn't in my Access database, so I didn't get my monthly reminders, which is how I manage all my other traditional bonsai, because these aren't bonsai yet. If you want to know more about that Bonsai app, 1, it's free, unless you want to make a donation. 2, there's well over 50 people around the world who are now using it, I think successfully. And the link's up there for the tutorials if you want to see if it suits you. But again, there's so many things like this that if you enter them, do all the bits and pieces, it allows you to get reminders and warnings and stuff like that. My daughter Lexi did that, absolutely incredible. I've been using it for 7 years now. So all I'm going to do now is basically pick dominant branches. I only want 1 or 2, as I've done with all the others. The rest I'm going to cut off. Okay, well there they all are, just down to 1 or 2 branches. This one, I've wired these in an upward direction because they were creeping over. This one's standing on its own, so that's fine. This little one over here, very, very weak. Just 2 branches on it, but that should probably make a good recovery. And we've got little weak ones down here as well. So I only need to see one other thing now. They have got quite a few pests on them. and aphids and stuff, so give them a decent spray. And in fact, I keep using this stuff, but do you want to know what it is? I don't get sponsored, but it's SB Plant Invigorator and Bug Killer. It's environmentally friendly. It's pesticide and growth stimulant. It controls white flower. Well, it controls all sorts of stuff, and it's for use on all edible and ornamental crops. Been using that. Mix it up into a container. Seems to work quite well. So I'm going to go and do exactly the same thing with these 3 hawthorn. This one's got loads of. In fact, they've all got loads of shoots coming out of them, and you don't need to see these. They're going to look pretty well like the others. They'll be reduced to probably 2 main branches coming out from the stumps. Actually, out of one of those last group, there was one that I discovered had 5 very, very good branch structures here, which I've able to sort of basically wire out into a loose, what I think is going to be an absolutely excellent broom style. These are the sort of things that when you find them, it just makes bonsai worthwhile. Don't you think? That's really it. Now, if you've liked this exploration or update on how my hawthorn trunk chops have got on, please, big thumbs up. And in fact, before we finish, I'm going to show you a hawthorn that I did a chop on in one of my episodes last year. Can't remember where it was, but everyone said they quite liked it. We'll show you how it's getting on, shall we?
Please, no more.
Yeah, it was this little hawthorn. I've had it for absolutely ages, 2015, 2016, stayed in this little pot. It's never really done anything. It had an odd branch going up here, which last year I decided to take the plunge, chopped it. And what we're slowly trying to develop is a nice little, I'd like something to go up that way, sort of small show in size hornbeam. But it's doing well, and it's an example how, you know, with, I just need to do one thing actually, just need to cut there actually. It's an example definitely of how even the most troubling, get rid of that as well, probably want to get rid of that lower branch thinking about it. Someone take these off me, you know what I'm like. But yeah, so very, very slow, but you know, things can develop unexpectedly, and before you know, you look at this, and I'll look at this in another couple of years' time, and it'll be like, wow, that's actually a bonsai and looks really good. And it started off from such humble beginnings, and you don't need loads of skill. You might need luck sometimes. Anyway, I reckon we're pretty well done there. Do like that. If you think anyone's going to enjoy this, or even if to show people that you can be pretty hard on some of these trunk chops, and if you're patient, get great results, or developing results anyway, then please feel free to share this on whatever social media sites you've got. Otherwise, you know, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, especially as I'm actually finally getting somewhere near 5,000 subs. So my journey's been slow and ponderous, but that's okay, because I'm getting to enjoy doing something that I like. So all I can say with that is enjoy your bonsai, enjoy life in whichever form it takes you. If it's a challenge, then take that challenge by the horns and at least try to smile occasionally. And hey, watch me. But from Xavier, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.